Welcome to Business Prowess with Rafael and Dr. Andrea. Our show will bring you the best insights, ideas, and inspiration from successful entrepreneurs and CEOs in the business world. Don't miss out on the opportunity to learn from the best and stay ahead of the game. Sifu Rafael is the founder of 5 unique shows. He's a fitness professional, solutions expert, executive coach, and head instructor at Max Martial Arts and Fitness in New York. Dr. Andrea Adams-Miller is an award-winning international keynote speaker, best-selling author, and CEO of the Red Carpet Connection Publicity, Publishing, and Talent Agency, and CEO of IgniteYourRelationship.com. Known as the Dream Maker, she makes visionaries' dreams come true, bigger than they ever dared to desire.
Good morning. Happy Friday, Dr. Andrea. How are you today? Hello? Oh, I can't hear you.
Well, on purpose, because I was setting up the Facebook and LinkedIn, and it was talking over it. I couldn't get it to be quiet. So you could hear us in echo in 2 different ways. We were like in a round, like row, row, row your boat.
There you go. There you go. So how are you today?
I am hunky-dory, and even though it's rainy and kind of crappy outside, I'm excited to see a rainy, crappy day.
Do you know why that's important?
Yes.
So we
Well,
can,
I mean, for me,
appreciate the beautiful
what do you
sunny
think it's
ones.
important, Sifu?
So we can appreciate the sunny and beautiful days, the blue
Okay.
skies. Right?
Well, I'm just happy to see crappy rainy days, because those are also really good days.
Yeah.
It's
a
the
good
day I
day
get to see.
It's a good day to stay in and or even go out and enjoy. Right?
Yeah, I'm totally cool with it. So you have a whole different perspective of life when you have a little bit of like, ooh, things might change. So definitely gets you a different feeling of the things that you appreciate.
So I'm grateful for today because we have 2 exceptional people on our show. Laura's been on our show before, and Brandon, I'm super excited to have him on our show. So let's go ahead and bring him on.
Please.
Laura,
Lovely.
Brandon, welcome. How are
Welcome,
you?
welcome. Nice
Hello,
to see you.
hello.
Well, we had some lovely chit chat before we came on. And just so you guys know too, I don't think we said this, like, we're very conversational here. You got something to say, interrupt us. You want to share something, put your hand up, get our attention, very conversational. We want people to be engaged, involved, and the people who get to see us in replay, which a lot of people do, they want to be able to see us as we truly are, authentic and open. And they like that we have tangents that we thought we'd never go on.
Mhm. Well, one of the things, consider that you're at a dining room table and we're all enjoying a meal, but I always say don't speak with your mouth full, but go ahead and speak anyway. Right? So make it conversational, like Dr. Andrea was saying. So today we want to talk about unlocking your potential, and how important is that for each one of you? Either one of you can take that away.
Oh, how important unlocking potential is? That's
Your potential.
yeah, that's a great question. Well, I think it's hugely important, because stepping into our potential is how growth and expansion happens. Otherwise, we're playing small. And some people choose to play small, but that's really limiting. And there's just so much in life that I think isn't going to get experienced if we play small. So really creating a possibility, seeing a new opportunity for ourselves, and stepping into, that potential is really how you make the game of life really fun and exciting.
Oh yeah.
What do you think, Brandon?
Yeah, I think when you step into your potential, it's fun because you're seeing stuff you potentially would have never seen before. And I remember I was in Miami, Florida in 2019, and I saw this guy speak. His name is Jesse Itzler. And if you don't know who he is, he's married to Sarah Blakely, who is the founder of Spanx. She's a self-made billionaire. And he's also sold 2 companies to Warren Buffett. And I'm seeing this guy speak on stage, and he talks about this 3 C's to building relationships. And I've been kind of introverted growing up, so I was just very open to the possibility of communications, meeting new people, and seeing what else was out there. And when I saw Jesse talk about these 3 C's, I was like, this is something I can implement in my everyday life. And he talked about how if you could focus on complimenting, but not necessarily like fake compliments. For example, oh, that's a nice tie you got there. Instead of just saying that, it's like, oh, that's a nice tie you got there. I've been looking for some new ones. Where'd you get that from? And then he talks about congratulating. So, for example, people work hard to make it another year of their life. So sometimes just saying happy birthday means a lot to someone. I was out in New York City last night, and this girl, I saw her 2 weeks before this, and she said she had a really rough birthday. I said, well, a bunch of us are going to New York City. My buddy's having his holiday party. You should come down with us. She's like, I'm in. And we had a surprise. She had no idea we were going to do this. We had a surprise celebration for her, and she was on cloud 9. But she made it another year of her life, and sometimes it's important to be able to celebrate that. And I had a buddy. He sent an email. He's like, we have our 2-year anniversary. This is an invite only, and I want you there. You've been a part of the journey. And I texted him after I RSVP'd. I said, hey, I remember that day 2 years ago when you were ripping off your shirt, announcing that you were going to start your insurance company, and to see what he's done over the last 2 years has been very inspiring. I texted him that today, and he said, hey, it means a lot that you've been there since the beginning. And so he talked about compliment, congratulating, and then he talked about consoling. And when I think of Dr. Andrea, when I think of Sifu, like I have been getting to know you through the calls. And the reason why is because you always show up. Like every time I'm on these calls, I feel like I see both of you. And that's the one thing that he was talking about with consoling. He says, you know, when your friends need you, when your people need you, what do? You show up. And that really clicked in me, because now a lot of people are like, Brandon, you're everywhere. You're in Pennsylvania, you're in Florida, you're in New York. Like how, and then you're out with us right now. How do you do this? Well, one thing I learned was that when your friends need you, when your community needs you, you show up. And I'm so grateful to be able to spend this hour with the 3 of you, because I just believe that you resemble those things really well. And I'm excited to get to know you all even better. And I would have never saw the potential that I could have grown the relationships that are in my life today if it wasn't for people like Jesse Itzler. So that's why I said, I'm like, I feel like it's a lot of fun when you explore your potential, because then you start seeing stuff that you never even would have thought was out there.
Yeah, love that. Understanding that people matter. I think it's so critical to what you just said, letting them know that you're thinking of them. Just like I told you earlier, I have a friend of mine, Alan, who reaches out every Friday. And before he was on my show, we were not friends. But once we made that connection, it was important for him to stay connected to me. And I realized how important I was to him and how important he's become to me. So you're right, reaching out, just that little text, that little pat on the back saying, great job. Or even if they're doing a terrible job, say, hey, you know what? Good try. How can I help? Right? Because sometimes people need help and they're afraid to ask as well.
That's such an important point that you're making. It's we forget the power of acknowledgement, and it makes such a huge difference in someone's day. I work with business owners who are often focused on what's the next problem to solve. And if something's going right or something's working, they kind of almost dismiss it because they just want to, rush off to the next problem. And acknowledging people is just so important, and being appreciative for what's working. So that's actually something I do with all of my clients. Every single coaching session starts with, what are your wins this week? What have you accomplished? What are you proud of? Because we have to take those moments to appreciate our wins for ourselves, while we also acknowledge and appreciate wins and what's working with others. Because we can all get pretty focused and narrow-minded sometimes in what's not working. and having to fix that stuff. And it's really acknowledging the wins that opens up the creativity and the possibility and our potential that allows us to move in that direction. So super powerful.
Mm-hmm. One of the things that you said and made me think is sometimes when we ask them what their wins are, and I'm sure you've gotten this, I didn't have any wins this week. And then we go deeper and deeper. And then we say, well, what have you lost this week? If you didn't win anything, what did you lose? Right. And then all of a sudden they start talking about their losses. And then you go, did you not realize that in order for you to win, you had to lose first? Sometimes that's an ingredient that some people, they throw aside and they don't realize that, listen, one of the things that I even said recently is that no matter how much dirt is thrown on you, you have to shake off the dirt to find the gold, right? Just like an archaeologist, in order to discover that treasure, they have to dig, and sometimes they have to dig carefully, because if we don't know where to dig, or even if we don't dig carefully, we might destroy the beauty of what we're looking for. So sometimes we have to be super careful with what we're looking for. Sometimes we don't know it's there, so we find it.
Well, that made me think of, the whole, saw a little girl yesterday with little red shiny shoes, and I haven't had little red shiny shoes for a while that are, like the Dorothy, no place like home, so what is it that you're looking for? And the big hubbub in my world is that Wicked's coming out, and I'm a Wicked fan and have enjoyed the show. And I even sang a little parody during one of my talks at Brandon's event, from Wicked. And it'll be interesting this week because what people are expecting, I already know, is not going to be on that screen, because it's not live theater. This is a movie. It's now made as a movie. And so I need to have different expectations for what I'm going to expect or see, and not if I try to compare it to what I already love and know, I'm going to hate it. But if I come in with, let's see a breath of fresh air for new people as a new experience to bring them into Broadway, then I'll probably enjoy it much more. So what we look for, sometimes we have to shift what we're looking for so that we set ourselves up for excellence rather than disappointment.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah.
So many times we forget to look, and the fact that you're talking about Wicked and you've sang songs from it, sometimes certain shows or even songs can bring about even the thought of another person, so that it's not just about the song, but it's about a memory that we can bring up as well. And therefore, sometimes we have forgotten a person, and when we can remember them for no reason at all. And this happened to me this past week. I was thinking of someone for no reason at all because I heard something, and then they showed up. And I was like, this is mind-blowing, because I was just thinking about you. And they were like, it's interesting. I was thinking about you too. So sometimes we have to listen to the universe. It's guiding us in the way, and sometimes the way that we can unlock our potential is to look for those moments and look for clarity in them as well. There was a reason I was thinking of this person.
Yeah, it's amazing what the universe brings our way if we're paying attention. We have to be present and open ourselves up to that noticing, because it's just we live in such a fast-paced world. It's just so easy to just be moving along, chucking along. What's on the to-do list? Let's get some more check marks there, and we forget to be present, and we can miss so much. And especially on that topic of potential, we can miss opportunities and potential when we're not being present. So important to just slow down and take notice.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, I want to give a quick shout out to everybody who's been watching us: Jose Escobar, Drew Sutton, Michael Schmidlin, and
Michael.
Ray J. So thank you everybody for checking in, saying hello, giving us a little thumbs up. And if you want to ask a question to our guests, please do so in the chat as well. I think sometimes when we can engage with people and just give them the time to just hear them out, I think that's also an important aspect of the way we show up when we do show up, right? Giving people a space to communicate as well.
For me, relationships and networking, I remember, hearing in school, and I even taught communication and speaking at a college level, and anything to do with business or networking. It was always keep business separate from friendship, and like no emotion. And I was like, I hated that. I'm like, why do I want to do business with people that I don't want to spend time with? I want to work with people that I want to be friends with. I want to engage with. I want to partner with. I want to do things with. I want them to be in my life. I want to celebrate holidays with them. And so I've always fought against that, because I never believed it to be something that was what I wanted in my life. And so I love blurring the lines. So I guess I should sing the song Blurred Lines. And I think that's what's made my life better, is by choosing not to live that way and to really love and care about the people that I work with. I think that for me, that impact is way more valuable than the separation. It's just not my thing. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah.
Brandon, you jump in.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, I was in golf management. I worked at golf courses, and then I was in the fitness side of things for quite some time. And it's very different. You have your in the lens type of relationships. They're more work related, all that stuff. And then you would go out, and it was like almost two separate lives. And when I started thinking about where I wanted to go with my next path, I said, you know what? I just want to figure out a way to grow with people. And I don't want to really look at it as much as work. And I was really trying to figure this out. And I asked my mentor, I said, how do you blend work and life? And he said, Brandon, figure out first how you want to live, and then figure out how to pay for it.
I love that.
And that really connected with me, because one thing that, as I started trying to visualize what that looked like, I was like, man, I really want to grow with people. And so I came up with this concept called warm heart, because everybody needs a warm heart. I didn't know what the financial situation was going to be a warm heart. I didn't have a product. I didn't have a service. I started Warm Heart off core values, because I said, if I study Walmart, if I study Amazon, if I study Pandora Jewelers, if I study Starbucks, if I study some of the top companies in the world that have impacted the masses, maybe if I can study them, maybe I can figure out how to create a company that someday can be on that level. And so what I studied was their core values. And so I came up with the core values of Warm Heart, which were named after the acronym CARE, because what is a warm heart? So it's someone who cares. And so I came up with these core values, and a lot of them were revolved around growing together with people. So for example, create opportunities for yourself and others. I had no idea I would have speaker masterminds. I had no idea I would have now my fourth year of the A to B conference, where we've been able to create opportunities in many different ways there. And but I had that core value, create opportunities for yourself and others. And then I had the second one was active lifestyle, live that through your words and action. And that's not just working out. That's staying active on your goals, staying active on the commitments, the promises that you said you're going to make. And so these things started to get engraved in me, and people would be like, wow, Brandon, you do a really good job of committing to what you're saying and follow through. And but it was those core values that would stick in my head on a daily basis. And then the next one was respect is earned, not just given. It's like that there could be a little kid, his favorite baseball player goes right in front of him, and the baseball player says, hey, sorry, kid, I can't sign that. I'm under contract. I can only sign so many baseballs, but thanks for coming out. Now, all of a sudden, that baseball player is probably not that kid's favorite anymore. And so so that core value really sticks with me when I'm on one-on-one calls, when I'm talking to people and I'm at events and I'm tired. People are like, Brandon, are you going to take a day off? Like, it's like, I was telling people this week, I'm like, listen, I'm living my dream. This is what I enjoy doing. Why would I want to do that? Like, I like what I'm doing. Then a day after that, I'm going to Florida and I'm spending time with just people who want to grow. They're like-minded. Then last night I was around 100 plus people who just were so into this guy's mission. His name's Mike, which is to help people feel more comfortable in their bodies. And there was just people who were just so like-minded in that room last night. And I was on a high. And so the respect is earned, not just given. It sticks with me a lot when you're in these situations, when you're tired. It's like, okay, well, if I'm tired, all of a sudden that person's probably not going to respect me. They're probably going to think a little bit differently of me. So that core value, it sticks with me, and it's been helping me grow together with people instead of looking at like, oh, this is work, this is friendship. And then the last one is excel forward. I mean, I think we would all agree it's a lot more fun to grow together with people. It's a lot more fun to be in conversations that are revolved in like, hey, how can we get to 1 million? How can we get to 10 million? How can we get to 1 billion? How can we impact more people? How can we improve our communication at dinner tables? How can we take better pictures? I think we would all agree it's so much more fun to be around conversations like that it's like, why would you do that? That's not possible. Good luck trying that. And so I feel like those core values have really helped instill the concept of like, hey, I'm not looking at this as work. I'm not looking at this as outside of work. I'm looking at this as one thing, and that's like, I want to grow together with people. My mentor, he said, Brandon, I'm so sick of people saying, what is my purpose? He goes, you got one purpose on this earth, and that's to leave it better than when you got here.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's what I'm trying to do with Warm Heart Life. And it's been very exciting to see that all happen. So thanks for that question.
I gotta tell you, this is such a powerful conversation that we're all having. And one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to rewatch it, right? Because there's so many opportunities for us to listen, but then we just listen. And one of the old Chinese proverb is, if you just listen, you forget. If you see, you'll remember. If you do, it'll be with you forever. So for those of you who are watching, not only take notes, but start taking action. Brandon talked about so many valuable aspects to carrying. And my phone is going off. I apologize. Yes, the train was coming.
I thought a train was going by. I was impressed. I was like, man, he's got his own train station.
He really does live in New York.
So that's actually my phone, believe it or not, because I want to know if somebody's important is calling. So when we consider everything that we're talking about here, it is all the little ingredients that we're putting together. It's how you personally unlock your own potential, because your potential is bigger than what you imagine it to be today. If you were looking back 30 years from today, you would go, boom, today's conversation could have shaped me, just the way Brandon listened back in 2019 to Jesse, and that triggered something in him. And in all of us, someone has spoken to us, whether we were listening or not, or maybe we saw an action. And those are the triggers that we need to remember and maybe act on and follow through, because today is not the last day that we can still grow. We have tomorrow, and we have 30 years from now. But every day we need to take into account everything and everyone that is put in our path. And they're put there for a reason. They could be put there for a moment, or they could be put there for the rest of our lives. So let's pay attention, right?
I wanted to add to, I shared that. By the way, I put myself on mute all the time because I'm texting what you guys are saying, different areas. But, Sifu talked about listening, taking notes, and taking action. And I'd like to add a step to that. So through my years as a teacher at colleges and so forth and universities, I found that there is a significance that they found in research studies that when you review your notes, both by reading them and then by verbalizing what you've learned to someone else within the day. So review them within the day that you took them. And then within a 24-hour period, find an opportunity to share some of the most important things about what you've learned with others will solidify that in your brain to take it from a short-term memory file to a long-term memory file. So there you go.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about, you got to reinforce those neural pathways, right? So yeah, you hear the message, you write it down. That's because our neurons are pathways in our brain. And definitely the hearing is first level, writing down is second level. And when you can put into practice, share what you're up to, then that pathway gets reinforced and reinforced. And you can go off in some really interesting tangents when you reinforce things to yourself.
Absolutely. And to recap what she's sharing, so that's kinesthetic, auditory, read, write, all of those in there. And then if you want to be even more fun to help yourself, if you have a whole lot to remember, sing a song, make an acronym, sing it and say it in a different voice, do a little jingle or a dance, and that'll impress yourself even more because you'll be able to retain more information, which goes with all your stuff, Brandon. So people can get through a 90-minute talk without having to refer at a note or have it memorized word for word. Those are always good memory tactics. So I'm sure you incorporate many of those already.
I think that, and Brandon and everybody here can probably attest to it, that when your passion is there, you really don't have to look at notes. Because it's in you, right? It lives inside of you. It's in your head. And if it's in your heart, man, it'll never go away. But when we're just trying to read something from a teleprompter or something of that nature, it's not going to really come across as genuine, as authentic. And I know a lot of people are getting tired of that word, authentic or unique. But we still have to be, right? Because those are that's who we are. And if we show up as someone else, then someone is going to call us out and they're going to go, that's not really you. And you were talking about that, Brandon, earlier, that when you show up as you. In a work environment, you're behaving in one way, and when you go out, you're behaving a different way. But I think, and also the way you treat people, I think if you treat everybody the same, then there's no game to be playing. It's just who you are, right? And I think that's the beauty of being that unique and authentic person. Just be you, right?
Yeah, I love how you were talking about how when you talk about things you're passionate about, it's almost like a different side. And when I was a freshman in college, I took a speech class. I was getting C's and D's. I couldn't get above a C. And I was pretty much an A and B student. And I was just like, what is going on? So I asked my teacher, I said, what do I got to do to get a better grade? She says, Brandon, if I were you, I would talk about something you're passionate about, because every time you're giving a speech, you're at one tone. You don't seem like you're into it, and I just can't connect with it. So I said, well, what in the world am I passionate about? And I took some time to think about it, and I realized I was passionate about my childhood crush, Shania Twain. And
There you go.
Ooh, Canadian.
Yeah.
And I started doing research that night, and it was almost like I felt like I was cheating because I was so into it. I was like watching the music videos, doing the research. I get to the presentation day, I start singing her lyrics. I start sharing her stories about how she made it actually in her later 20s versus many people who make it in there early. And I was so into it that my teacher gives me the grade back, and I not only did I get an A, but over a decade later, there's still 2 people from that class that still bring that speech up to me whenever I see them.
Yeah, that's brilliant. I think sometimes, my perception is sometimes we get too stuck in perfectionism and wanting to have something be just right. And so in the pursuit of perfection, we can lose our authenticity. And, authenticity is really, connected to being vulnerable and sharing who we are. So that's what you did that day, Brandon. You shared who you are. And it stuck. It was memorable. Years later, people remember that. And so, and it can be scary to be vulnerable because, people might judge us and things like that. But that's really where value is created, is when we are sharing who we really are and being vulnerable, and that authenticity word again. Then there's nothing to remember. There's nothing to be perfect about. And we can just share from our heart like you do, share our passions like I do. And that's going to come across, and that's going to stick with our audience, no matter who that audience is.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Brandon, all I can say is when I hear somebody say something that made them love class or love school, well, that does impress me much. Oh. That was special for you.
Thank you.
Oh, funny. Well, Sifu, you said earlier about how we connect songs to people, and we do. I mean, obviously, more than things and smells and foods and different things. So, like as we're talking here, my daughter texted because we're gonna do cookies with the kids, and they're like, "I don't have cookie cutters," and I'm like, "I have mine and my mother's and my grandmother's, which is their great grandmother who's passed," and it's like, oh, those are things that we have that can create a memory. But that whole idea of songs and how they hold to us, to me, that's so impactful. Do you guys have a certain song that gets you up and going, like no matter, like in your darkest day? What is the song? What is your go-to song to light you up?
Ooh.
Oh my goodness. I can't remember just one. I have a playlist.
Oh, well, that's wonderful.
It's called Inspirational. And yeah, I mean, talk about music and inspiring you. I'm a competitive dancer in my other life. So I'm definitely influenced by music. And there's absolutely certain songs that I'll play to myself before competition just to get myself in that headspace and get me razzed and ready to go on the floor, feeling confident. So absolutely, music is powerful.
It sure is. So Laura, it sounds like you have to come to the CLA event in October next year, because you and I need to get on that dance floor.
I would love that.
Laura, he is an excellent dance partner. Phenomenal.
Awesome.
Yeah, that would be great. You guys should teach a little class.
When you consider songs that either motivate you or excite you, how about songs that just put a smile on your face, right? Songs that make zero sense to you. One comes to mind is I Am Colombian, and La Cucaracha is the roach, right? La Cucaracha, ya no puede andar, and that just puts a smile on my face. And who would have thought to sing a song about a roach, right? And it's just so funny to me. But then there's also songs that just make you think about love, think about a person, think about your emotions. The songs that can make you remember someone who is no longer around. Maybe it's been 10, 20 years, but every time you hear it, boom, that just comes back at you, right? And even if you didn't have the intention of thinking, and you're driving and all of a sudden that song comes on, or somebody texts you and there's a song that they put in it, music to whatever, those are the moments that you go, wow. life is so precious because it's that music, it's that tone, it's that beat even. Sometimes it's not even, there's no words, but it's that beat that reminds you of someone, right?
Definitely.
Or a moment in time that you remember. Maybe you were alone and that song brought you to a different place.
Well, that beat is like a heartbeat.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So definitely music connects us to our heart, whether it's joy, whether it's some sadness or melancholy, whatever that is, that drum beat is just so primal and gets us connected to our heart for sure.
Yeah, I mean, kind of combination of both the things that you were saying, inspiring, like makes us think of someone. There's this song, Juicy, by the Notorious B.I.G. It was all a dream. I used to read Word Up magazine, salt and pepper and heavy D up in the limousine. And I love that song. It's just such an inspiring song to me because he's kind of talking about how what actually happened was a dream. And then what life was like before, and then what life was like now. And I wasn't old enough to be able to really see Biggie in his prime. I think I was 4 when he passed away. But that song years later still inspires me. And it's just so cool to see like what it was like before the dream, and then the things that are happening, what were the thoughts like. And I was so inspired by that song that at my conferences here, I was trying to figure out what can I do to stick out? You know, a lot of these people have seen me speak a lot, and I'm always trying to think of things like, what can I do that they just felt like, wait, what? And so that beat, that melody, I just took it and I was like, it was all a dream. I used to sit in the upper seats watching all the speakers drop some heat. But now I'm here in front of all you peeps with this mic in my hand and this A to B fan.
Look at you. Look at you. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you did that, because I actually put my thing on mute to pull up the song and play it. And it was dedicated to all the teachers who told him he'd never grow up to be anything. How cool is that?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that is cool.
Sifu,
It's interesting. Go ahead. But I'm going to tell you, I was so, I don't know, I was in the right place so many times when I was a kid. I used to hang out with Kid and Play. I hung out with TKA, you know, Maria. I hung out with a lot of singers back in the day because I grew up in Queens. I used to go to Manhattan. I used to go to the Bronx. I used to go to Brooklyn. So I used to hang out with some of these celebrities. And to me, they were just friends of mine.
Sure.
And it wasn't, you know, I like, oh yeah, I heard your song on the radio. I saw your video or whatever. But the last time I remember, this is the kind of friends I had. I was in Manhattan at the ice skating rink in Central Park. And I'm hanging out with this very popular, at the time, music crew. And one of them was offended by someone else that was there. And they said, hey, Rafael, we're going to go beat this guy up. You want to come? And I was like, you know, I don't think so. I'm good, but I'll see you guys next time. So even though they were amazing singers, they still had this trauma that would go in their head, and somebody offended them, they would want to go hurt them. But that was never me. If for me, it was like, how can I love on this person? And it was never about how, even though I teach martial arts and I teach people how to hurt people, I never wanted to ever hurt anybody. And even when I have fought, I fight cautiously not to hurt them too badly. For me, it's always about the care. And so I was very fortunate. I met so many celebrities when I was a kid, and it never dawned on me to say, hey, you know, you're amazing. I never even said that once to them. I was just like, hey, what's going on? How you doing? It was more of a friendly, let's just be friends, right?
Love it. Love it. Love it. So is there a song? I'm trying to get a song out of Sifu.
Depends on the mood, right? It's all based on a mood.
And so come up with one. Come up with two.
Ese lunar que tienes junto de tu boca, no se lo des a nadie porque a mí me toca. Ay, ay. So that means that beauty mark by your lips is so amazing. Don't give it to anyone else because it's mine.
Oh,
Yeah,
Very
it's a Spanish song.
thank you for
I remember that as a
translating.
kid.
Very beautiful.
Right.
Mine, and I was singing it this weekend, and it'll just like come out of my mouth. I'll go, blue skies shining on me, nothing but blue skies do I see. I don't know why I sing it. I have sung it my whole life. It will just come out of the blue. All of a sudden, I'll just find myself happy, and I'll just start singing it. It feel good. So. Even today, with it raining outside.
Well, the blue skies are above the clouds.
Yeah.
Remember that.
Yeah.
They're always
Or
blue.
the next town over. I'm just gonna get in my car, drive a little, and I'll find some blue skies.
That's it. That's it. We can't be chasing the blue skies because we keep driving and we're looking for them, but we forget that they're above. They're always there. Sometimes we're chasing the dream and we're living the dream and don't realize what we have in front of us.
Very much.
So pay attention, people. Pay attention.
Very much.
Brandon's living the dream. Laura's living the dream. Dr. Andrea, we're all living the dream. And when we can take a moment to reflect back on us and look in the mirror and say, what do I have to offer today? How can I help my brothers and sisters? Right? That's my prayer every morning. I thank God for all the gifts he's given me, but then I also say, please give me the power to share these gifts you've given me with my brothers and sisters. Because that's, I think, how we can truly unlock your potential, because it's not yours to keep. It really isn't. We must share them. Just like Brandon is sharing his gifts. It's a beautiful thing when you can even take that song and change the verse a little bit to talk about you in it. You're on the tops, on the up seats, right? In the mezzanine, if you will. And now you're actually on stage because you see where you were and where you have gone. But that's not the end all.
No, it can be, I see it as a self-fulfilling prophecy. As we help others step into their potential, we step into our potential, and it builds and grows. So the more we do that for others, the more comes back to us in return, which gives us even more to give back to others. So I love the cyclical nature of it.
Yeah, and it's so funny. It's like, and you all probably get this too with your events. I get so many people who just they want to speak on my stage. They want to be a big part of the event, and yet they've never even gone to my event. And when I think back to that verse, my first big speaking engagement, my dream speaking engagement when I was younger, I went to this event 8 years in a row. To Orlando, Florida. I went there 8 years in a row when I was 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. And on the 9th year, I finally got to speak on that stage. And I just think so many people, they want that dream. They want to be the Taylor Swift. They want to be the Sifus. Like they want to be those people who are on that stage. They want to be the Kevin Harts. They want to be the people that everybody is going to see, but yet they're not willing to put in the daily action that it takes to be able to get there. And I wish people could actually see like that younger me who I would take notes. I would stay there after. I would try and introduce myself to the speakers. I'd be shaking. I would follow them on Instagram. I'd see what certifications that they had. And then I started picking up all these things. And the craziest thing is, a month before I had that dream speaking engagement that I went my 9th year in a row going there, a month before, I was the youngest person voted on the top 50 trainers in America list by Golf Digest, because I used to be in the golf fitness field. And it was a full circle moment, because I was so focused on getting better that all of a sudden it was like, all right, finally some recognition. But it was just like, I was just so caught in the process of getting better, just like I am with this business that I've been working on for 6 years now, 5-6 years. And it's just, you get so caught up in trying to get better, sometimes you don't realize how far you've come. You know what I mean? So
it's
and
good
that's why
to recognize your celebrate your advances. And before, because we're out of time, but I want to make sure that Brandon gets acknowledgement for your comedic work as well. So you shared some YouTube of you being a comedian, and what I thought was really funny is, Brandon, you were more critical of yourself than I almost wanted to say, Brandon, quit talking and just play the video, because it was funny. It was funny, and you were so critical of it. And I did my first stand-up this last year, and it's so much fun. And so I was so glad to see you doing that, because and sharing the humor that you have. It showed a different light of you that I really enjoyed. Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, we are wrapping it up. I'm going to give each of you 30 seconds, and then we got a boogie, but 30 seconds, and we'll put your info across the screen. Tell us why somebody should reach out to you and how you can help them. Who'd like to go first?
Go, Brandon.
Okay. So
yeah,
nice. Warm Heart Life on Instagram, on the internet, and then my cell phone number is 607-348-6136. I don't think I'll really know exactly how I can help someone until I get to know them. So the best way is just schedule a virtual coffee, and I enjoy meeting new people. So hopefully some people reach out.
Love it. And they should, definitely. And thank you for that. And Laura, you're up.
Great. So Laura Watson, my company is Venture Coaching International. You can find me at venturecoaching.ca. And I'm all about helping people be the best they can be. So as you're building your business, as you're becoming a better and more powerful leader of your business or in your organization, that's really how I intervene, is understand where you're at, what your goals and objectives are, what being the best looks like for each particular individual, and then helping them get there faster. And, like Brandon, I'm always happy to have a conversation. And so people can check out my website, book a call with me, or just call at 403-669-8684, and I'll be here for you.
Love it. Dr. Andrea, you're such an incredible human being, and I'm so happy you're my co-host. Tell us about you and how people can reach you. I put your info across the screen.
Yeah, if people want to reach out or follow me on Facebook, LinkedIn, or TikTok, it's at Andrea Adams-Miller, and my website is www.theredcarpetconnection.com, and I have some free gifts on there. And I just really love being able to meet and engage with people. I'm doing less events than I used to because I'm spending a little more time focused in on home and my husband and grandkids. But the relationships with the people that I meet, I'm still happy to do that. I still love doing it. I loved being out and all about and miss a little bit of that. So feel free to reach out to me and invite me to speak at an event. I'll come out.
You sure will. And I'm Sifu Rafael. You can reach me at sifurafael.com. One of the things that I always say to people is, what is your potential and how can I help you get there? Because we all have something to give, and sometimes we can't see it ourselves. This is why I love coaching so much. This is why I love mentoring. I had a client recently say to me, you're not just my coach, you're my mentor. I'm like, really? Why? And then he went through all these things. He said words that I said to him. I'm like, oh, you're remembering all that stuff. I said, so I guess I am helping you. And it's my pleasure. And he said, man, you've changed my life. So anytime, any one of us here, you should reach out to Brandon, reach out to Laura, reach out to Dr. Andrea, and I'm available. So let's do it. Let's have a chat and let's make things happen.
Awesome.
Thank you, everybody. What an incredible show. Make sure you watch the replay and hit hashtags, and we will see you soon. Take care, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.